What is going on, everyone? Jordan Anderson here, and I figured I'd do a little bit of a meta video for you guys. A lot of you out there, a lot of startup founders are using this software called Screen.Studio. I use it all the time myself in doing all these product demos, and today I want to give you my exact recipe on how I make my Screen.Studio stand out. So if you want to make your Screen.Studio stand out and not just look like you just got it out of the box and you're following just the standard template, and you want to add a little bit of finesse and show off your brand a little bit, stick around. I'm going to show you. Basically, I'm just going to walk through Screen.Studio and how it works, how we can spice it up for you guys. So the first thing that we want to do after you've done recording your video, you want to go up here and make sure that you are in wide 16:9, because I'm assuming you're going to put this on Twitter or YouTube, so make sure you put it in 16:9. Sometimes when you record your Chrome window or you're on your MacBook here, it's not exactly 16:9. This will put it in that frame exactly so that you look great on YouTube. You can also do vertical, square, all those other sizes. And if you ended up recording something, like say you record on your Chrome, you open up Chrome and you've got all the tabs up there and you don't want to show those tabs, you just hit the crop button right here and you say, okay, my Miro here, so like, okay, I don't want to show off the Miro tools, I don't want to show off the Miro logo, and then you hit confirm and then it crops it just like that. Easy. Starting off easy. Now let's go up here. We're going to work our way down on the right hand side here. So background and screens. You can start with a wallpaper. You can pick a random wallpaper. After Screen.Studio's recent update, they've added a ton of different stuff, so you don't just have to do the standard, whatever this one is called. I see this all the time. Or the flower. Yeah, like, how many times have you gone into someone's product page and you see this flower background? I don't know. That's just my personal taste. But if you see it a lot, you're like, oh, it kind of takes you out of the sales mode. You're like, oh, they use Screen.Studio. Oh, okay, whatever. You can do whatever you guys want. You could do gradient, radiant, all the stuff. Pick a random one. Pick whichever one you like. Or you could do gradients to add some branding. You could do a color. You could do an image. I'm just going to do a color. And then for your padding, this has to do with how much space is on the side here. Maybe you were too afraid to fiddle with some of these dials. I'm going to show you how to work it. This is rounding your corners on your frame here. Let me reverse my let me fix my crop back to how I had it originally so that it looks good. Inset is how deep you want that. It's almost like you're like pushing the image further inside itself. And then you can change the colors. Maybe, if you want to do some kind of cool effect, maybe it's like a drop shadow inside it. You be creative. Inset opacity, inset balance, drop shadow. You can't really control too much of the shadow, but you can change the angle of it. You can change how much blur you want. You can't make it zero blur, like a hard shadow, but you can just change how much you like it, or you just hit reset if you don't. Or you do directional shadow. Oh, this is a great effect. Look at this. Let's see. Let's intensify this. And I'm back in 2014. I got my After Effects templates that I just downloaded, and oh, so good. Look at it. Okay, don't do that. Let's turn the shadows off. All right, and then you're going to go to your cursor here. Now, you could say hide cursor, so when you are doing your product demo that maybe you just want to show the buttons being clicked, but you don't want to show the cursor, because maybe you were doing a product demo and the cursor was going all over the place. I've seen it happen, where it's just like you're like nervously frantic, like, oh, I don't know. You can hide it altogether if you want to. That's fine. Camera. Camera is going to pick where your camera is. How about that? So you pick a camera. You can say mirror camera if you need to flip it. Everyone starts out right here, I think. What's the reset? Yeah, like right here. Again, another dead giveaway. Like, oh, okay. Yep, this little rounded corner. You get a lot of people asking, like, Jordan, how'd you get the circle camera? That's what I want. Square looks not great, but people are always asking, like, Jordan, how do you get the round one? Just add roundness. And then size. Keep it, in the 40% realm. That's usually what I do. And then different size during zoom. That is important too, because I think it has a nice little natural effect. emails. And see how I got a little smaller right there? Like, watch my camera here on the bottom left. Yeah, so that's kind of nice. Versus, like, it stays the same. It adds a little bit of dynamic. You want to bring your audience in as you're watching them. Captions. Captions are fantastic. I make captions every single day in all my videos, and there are some auto caption softwares out there, or the captions baked. You know, Adobe Premiere captions suck. Descript is pretty good. They still can't get the dollar amount. You know, you say $2,000 and it does like 2, space 0, 0. It does. They can't get the numbers right. Or, you know, you work for a weird company, or the company's got a weird name. This will know that company's name, surprisingly, which I think is great. So you can hide the transcript. You can tell it to run a transcript. If you can export the transcript if you want to, say, upload it directly to YouTube, but YouTube's going to do its own thing. You can edit the transcript, go in here, you know, some words or some punctuation is not there exactly to your liking. You can make it huge if you want to. The only thing I wish you could do is like change the color background. That's probably the next update. You choose your base. I usually stick with small, auto language. And then for the prompt here, this is where you would add, if you work for a special company, or like working for Samcart, it always do like sim card or sand cart, not Samcart. So I would have to, in this down here, type Samcart, so it would know to do Samcart. The next one, microphones. You can mute your microphone, but if you're talking on camera, it doesn't make sense. And then improve microphone audio. Always turn that on, and it does a little, like, it's not quite as good as Screen.Studio sound, but it's better than not doing it. So if you, especially like me, I'm just talking straight to my laptop right now, no microphone, and you tell me how it sounds. Then finally, we're almost done. Keyboard shortcuts. You get it. Animations. This is, as an animator here, I want to show you guys how to not make your viewers seasick when they're watching your videos. You want to keep them engaged and not queasy and like closing the laptop, be like, I can't watch this anymore. Motion blur. Motion blur is great. That adds, if you want the cinematic motion blur, that's what you're looking for. Motion blur on the cursor movement, on screen zooming in. These emails in. It doesn't have to be crazy. These emails in. But no motion blur makes it feel very, what's a good example? MKBHD, like he does 60 frames per second. He doesn't do the cinematic blurry. He does like sharp, tight. So if you're going for that look, then turn motion blur off. It's up to you. I like cinematic. Cursor, smooth cursor movement. Yes. Change this. It starts out on mellow. Go to slow. Guys, Jordan Anderson here from Nice Slice. Slow. Email. Slow. Make it slow. It's slow enough. Like, slow is a little too slow. Well, slow is not slow enough for me. This is the cursor movement. So how quickly your cursor is moving around. Ultimately, how to turn this. Let's find a part in this video where my cursor is moving. Is my cursor moving? Okay. Oh, I have high cursor. All right, guilty. Bam. Oh, still not large enough. So see, it's slow. Whereas if I made it quick. Hey, what's up, guys? Jordan about these emails in kind of 3 phases here. It's very it's too twitchy for me. And then the zoom, you want the zoom to be very slow. Now you can finesse this stuff. It's all personal taste. But when you are done, this is what is going to save you a ton of time. When you're done, you say, okay, I got it all my settings right. Everything looks good. You're going to go to preset, and you're going to create a preset. And every time you log into every time you log into Screen.Studio, I almost said Descript, that is ready to go. Like, I've got a green screen one here. I've got Nice Slice Studio here ready to go. So then I log in, I record my video, and I just say, hey, I already know the speed, the zoom, the color, the palette, all of that's ready to go. So now all I have to do is just go down here to the timeline and start editing. Let's talk about the timeline real quick. It's a very basic video editor, so if you're new to this, I think that's the appeal. That is, you don't need to know a lot about video editing. You know, scrub your in and out points. You can hit the scissors, the split clips, and say split this clip, and then switch, you know, using the S key. Then you click that, and delete it. Very simple editing. You can right click and say split, and it'll split there. You can right click and change the speed. Sometimes I'll make a very long demo. Like this demo right now that we're doing is 10 minutes long. When I'm editing it, I will speed it up to 2 minutes and or 2x, and I'll watch it at 2x speed so I can edit faster. And then when I'm done ready to export, I will just switch it back to 1x speed. And there we go. Now let's say you're making a video on these zooms down here. Let's say all these zooms here, you're like, I don't want any of these. You right click and you say remove all zooms. Just like that. Like I make some of these on the Miro board. Like the Miro does the zooming for me, so I just need to like just wipe everything. Let's go and mess around with the zoom real quick. I do 1.5 zoom. I think it defaults to 2x or 1.8 if I remember.
Emails.
I do 1.5 because that's just what I need to do.
Phases.
To just not make you guys seasick going through this. You can do even more. You can do 200%. I do 150%, and I say apply to all zooms, set as the default. That is just personal taste. But I think for most software demonstrations that you do, 1.5 is pretty good. Set that as a default. Auto and manual and snap to edges. These are like, it's hard to explain what they do, but you're like, I just need it to do
emails.
You just like, sometimes you just fiddle around with, you're like, I don't know what it's doing, but I just need it to work. So sometimes you got like maybe a dashboard on the left or some settings on the left you still want to keep visible. To snap to edges is like, you want some of that stuff still visible in your zoom. This is for auto. You're in auto mode. For manual, you just say where you want the camera to go. So sometimes auto doesn't exactly get it right, or it's following your mouse when it should be following a component on your screen. This is where you switch to manual. Now, manual will only work for this one particular, hang on, I'm gonna sneeze. Almost did. This manual only applies to this particular zoom. If you go to the next zoom, it's back to auto. It's very simple. Very simple stuff. Apply to all zooms. You can remove the zoom, click on it, delete it. If you want to start a new one, left click and drag. Move it around. Pro animation tip. Animate zoom before the movement. Just a little bit before the movement. So if you're like, if I am lined, if this top one is my movement and the bottom one is my zoom, I'm going to be a little bit ahead. Like you want to lean into it, lean into the zoom animation, not follow it as it happens. Like you want to, ease into it. They call it an ease. Ease in, ease out. That is a quick overview of the Screen.Studio walkthrough, guys. Next thing you can do up here, last thing, name your project. Name your project, hit export. Oh, of course, we got to talk about exporting. Duh. Exporting is the last thing. This is simple. For an MP4, you want to select MP4, 1080p, that's HD. You usually don't need 4K, but hey, if you want to go, swing for the fences on the big files and make it look super nice, super big for that big screen, do 4K. So I do 1080p, I do 30 frames per second. Typically, 60 frames is going to be a bigger file. It's going to take longer. It's going to look super smooth, though. It's going to get that MKBHD smooth look. 24 frames is going to be that blurry cinematic look. And then I will usually stick around social media for compression. And Studio, I'll do Studio if I'm bringing these files into After Effects, like I want the highest screen resolution possible. And then web and web load, that is like, hey, I'm just like, almost like emailing it to a buddy, or like you're trying to just do a WebM file, upload it to your website to like compress it as much as possible to keep the file size low. That is it. You hit export. Now, if you want to do a GIF, I would stick around 30 to 50 frames per second. You can do 480, 720, and this switch has to be turned on. If you do not have this switch turned on for GIFs, high quality, it will look, there's like these dot grids on the image. Try it yourself. You'll look at it and you're like, that doesn't look great. It looks awful. And you'll be like, I have to do this again. So keep that switched on, higher quality, bigger files. That's how it goes. Thanks for watching, guys. My name is Jordan Anderson with Nice Life Studio. I'm going to end the tutorial right here. If you guys have any Screen Studio questions, drop it in the comments. I'll catch you on the next one.